Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. Huang Shiji's eyes widened as he said, "This is no time for a prank." Mr. Seventh penned the letter himself. I dare not lie. Mr. Seventh has asked us to wait for him. The person bowed as he presented the letter with both hands. Mr. Seventh is on his way to Liang province. He will arrive tomorrow morning. Yu Shangrong looked up slightly in the direction of the other tribes. He did move or turn around, keeping quiet. Earlier, a faint smile could be seen on his face, but now, his face was devoid of expression. Huang Shiji could sense the change in the atmosphere, so he cupped his fists together and took his leave. Liang province. The next morning. Huang Shiji, Jiang Aijian, Li Jingyi, and the masters of the 10,000 Poison faction, the Blossom faction, and the Fiend Temple gathered at the general's mansion. Where's Mr. Second? One of the disciples bowed and replied, Mr. Second is on one of the turrets. So early? Jiang Aijian was shocked. Mr. Second has been standing the entire night. The entire night? Huang Shiji frowned slightly. I'll go and have a look. Jiang Aijian said, Master. You're getting worried for nothing. Aren't you afraid of being flayed alive if you head there now? How can Mr. Second be fine when something like that has happened to Mr. First? Huang Shiji was stunned. He said, I thought they didn't get along. Indeed, but they're fellow disciples, after all, Jiang Aijian replied. You have a point. Huang Shiji nodded. Little Jian. Jiang Aijian said with a straight face, Master, please address me as Aijian. AI for the love of all peoples, and Jian for sword freak. If you can't call me that, at least refer to me as your good disciple your. If you call me Little Jian again, I'm leaving. Scram. Huang Shiji said. If you're even 1/10,000th like Yu Shangrong, I wouldn't have fallen to such dire straits. Look at him and his world-renowned profound cultivation base, then look at you. Master, that's not fair. I'm renowned all over the world as well. I'm one of the 3 great sword freaks in the cultivation world. When have I ever tarnished your good name? It isn't fair for you to compare me to him. Jiang Aijian said arrogantly. At this moment, the cloud-splitting chariot was speeding toward Liang Province City from the east, dragging a long tail behind it. Perhaps, due to it traveling at maximum speed, it buzzed and thrummed. A few people looked up in unison. They're here. Mr. Seventh is here. Then, the others rose to their feet and looked at the sky as well. In just a blink of an eye, a green-clad figure appeared before everyone. He crossed his arms as he looked at the incoming cloud-splitting chariot with a cold gaze. Greetings, Mr. Second. The people from the 10,000 Poison faction, the Blossom faction, and the Fiend Temple bowed in unison. Yu Shangrong ignored them. He continued staring at the cloud-splitting chariot. Soon enough, the cloud-splitting chariot was above Liang Province City. Upon seeing this, Yu Shangrong stepped into the air. Si Wuya, who was manning the helm, saw Yu Shangrong. He bowed and said, Greetings, second senior brother. With just a glance, Yu Shangrong saw Yu Zhenghai lying in the flying chariot. He investigated Yu Zhenghai with his energy and failed to detect any aura. Yu Zhenghai was as good as dead. A slight frown appeared on his face when he discovered this. He asked, Does Master know? Yes. It was too late when Master arrived. Eldest senior brother fought Lu Gu valiantly above Cloud Rage River. The 2 of them were evenly matched, and both of them died, Si Wuya calmly replied. Yu Shangrong shook his head. He said indifferently, I've told him that Lu Gu isn't a pushover. This wouldn't have happened if he had listened to me. Since Mr. Second from the Evil Sky Pavilion was sleeping, the others could only listen. Si Wuya said with a sigh, It's meaningless to discuss this now. Although Master spared no effort in healing eldest senior brother, he only managed to keep eldest senior brother's life hanging by a thread. Yu Shangrong entered the cloud-splitting chariot. He stood next to Zhenghai and looked down at him. The cloud-splitting chariot was silent. Zing. All of a sudden, Yu Shangrong's longevity sword left its scabbard. A red light shot out from the sword into Yu Zhenghai's body before it returned to its scabbard. Yu Shangrong asked, "What else did Master say?" After Wuya recounted Lu Zhou's words to Yu Shangrong, he continued to say, "I'll take eldest senior brother deep into Lulan and find the spot where he was first buried." The others were shocked upon hearing this. Zhang Jian shook his head. He stepped forward, looked at Wuya, and said, "I know you're resourceful, but the people of Lulan rule their nation with witchcraft. Emily and Bama both died in Great Yen. Now that the divine capital is in chaos, they're just waiting for an opportunity to conquer our lands. Aren't you just seeking death if you go to Lulan now?" Wuya said, "That's the only way to save eldest senior brother. If I can save him, I'm willing to take the risk." The others nodded when they heard this. At this moment, Yu Shangrong said, "Leave it to me. Second senior brother? I'll go to Lulan." Yu Shangrong raised a hand. A 5-fingered energy seal propped Yu Zhenghai up. "But I have my longevity sword, and I can prolong his life. Can you?" Yu Zhenghai looked at Wuya. "Besides, your cultivation base is too weak. Say no more. I can promise that I'll survive as long as I have my sword." Yu Shangrong flew out of the flying chariot with Yu Zhenghai in tow. The others looked at the sword devil, Yu Shangrong, in confusion. Was he not being too hasty? Was he not going to plan his route or come up with a strategy first? Did he go crazy? By the way, what's the situation like in the divine capital, 7th junior brother? Lugu is dead. It's a great victory for the Nether Sect. Master is personally keeping an eye on the divine capital. It's absolutely safe there, Wuya replied. All right. Yu Shangrong looked in the direction of the other tribes. Look after Liang Province City for me. Wuya was in a great dilemma. Isn't he taking this too lightly? He's switching players and departing at the drop of a hat. Nay. The cry of a horse sounded from below. The others were shocked and looked at the source of the commotion. They thought that the Rulians had invaded. However, they saw Mingshir'in approaching them on horseback. The horse had a ruby mane and snow-white coat. Its eyes were golden. It truly looked outstanding. Nay. 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 Come on, I've not even complained about you, but you're complaining non-stop. The others were shocked. It's the Evil Sky Pavilion's Mr. Fourth. Mr. Fourth has a mount like this? Wuya regarded Mingshir'in on the horse with a complicated gaze. He did not know why he was here. Mingshir'in stopped and leaped off the steed. Greetings, second senior brother. Yu Shangrong smiled faintly and said, Why were you loitering about in the area these few days? Was I? You must have mistaken me for somebody else, second senior brother. Mingshir'in scratched his head and acted as though he had no idea of what Yu Shangrong was talking about. You have always been at odds with 7th junior brother. Now that there's a possibility of the other tribes invading, both of you must look past your differences and support each other, Yu Shangrong said. Got it. Mingshir'in's reply was clearly insincere. He thought to himself, you're even more at odds with eldest senior brother. I'm sure that defending Liang province will prove much more difficult in my absence. If there are any troubles, ask master for help. Don't be arrogant and underestimate your enemies, Yu Shangrong said. Got it. Contrary to his reply, Mingshir'in thought to himself, why do I feel this advice is much more suited for yourself? Naturally, he did not dare to verbalize his thoughts. Yu Shangrong smiled faintly and said, I'll leave it to all of you. Farewell. Yu Shangrong was about to turn around and fly away when. Nay. Ji Liang hurriedly flew in front of Yu Shangrong, blocking his path. Nay. Ji Liang kept lowering and lifting its head as though it was nodding. Hey, hey, hey. Ji Liang, what's the meaning of this? Don't stand in second senior brother's way. Mingshir'in was taken aback. Nay. 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 Ji Liang kept moving. Yu Shangrong made a guess. You want to bring me to Lulan? Ji Liang nodded. The others were shocked as they looked at Ji Liang. What an incredible horse. A horse with intelligence. It's a legendary mount. You're fated to be with this horse, Mr. Second. If it brings you to Lulan, victory will come on horseback. Ming Shirin. Every second counted on a rescue mission. Yu Shangrong had no objections to going with Ji Liang. He said, very well. Then, he leaped onto Ji Liang's back with Yu Zhenghai in tow. Ji Liang was extremely tame and obedient. Ming Shirin. Yu Shangrong said, I'm sorry, fourth junior brother. No, there's no need to apologize. This horse belongs to master, after all. Just take it and use it. Inwardly, Ming Shirin had already cursed Ji Liang 1,000 times over. Yu Shangrong nodded and said no more. He rode the horse and dove toward the forest in the west. In just a blink of an eye, he vanished. Meanwhile, behind a bunker north of the forest, a masked Rolian saw Ji Liang. He immediately returned to the campgrounds. At the campgrounds. When General Carroll learned the news, he smiled. Do you know who left Liang province? My lord, although it was far away, I'm certain it's the evil Sky Pavilion's second disciple, Yu Shangrong, who left on horseback. Apart from that, he seemed to have brought a patient with him. Good job, Carroll said, notify Lulan to keep an eye on that man. If the situation permits, kill him. Understood. At the Rolian campground, the Rolian cultivators gathered around a bonfire as they drank wine and feasted on meat. They showed no indication of invading Liang province. Carroll stepped outside and looked at the skies. His eyes gleamed coldly as he murmured, Karen. I'll be able to avenge you soon. At night. The forest was quiet. After a day of traveling at full speed, Yu Shangrong planned to stop for a rest. Ji Liang's performance had exceeded his expectations. Barring unforeseen circumstances, Ji Liang should be able to take him across Heaven's Moat. Heaven's Moat was somewhere beyond the forest. It was the name of the mountain range that towered up into clouds between Great Yan and the western regions. To cross it, one's cultivation base had to be profound. Otherwise, one would need to travel by flying chariot. There were soldiers patrolling the borders all year round near Heaven's Moat to guard against the invasion from the other tribes. Under normal circumstances, it was difficult to cross Heaven's Moat. After the great disturbance in the divine capital, Wei Zhuoyan had recalled his troops. The area seemed slightly desolate now. Yu Shangrong glanced at Heaven's Moat outside the forest. Aside from the stars, he could not see anything. Then, he looked at the unconscious Yu Zhenghai whom he had propped against a tree trunk and said, since you hate Lulan so much, why didn't you take them down when the Nether Sect was at its strongest? You could even conquer the divine capital. Yu Zhenghai did not answer, nor could he answer. Back then, the two of us fought with Master and lost. After Master left, if I didn't hit you with that final palm strike, perhaps, Lu Gu wouldn't have been able to sneak up on you. So, that death was on my hands, but I never regretted striking you. The enmity between the noblemen and Wookieans shouldn't be placed on our shoulders alone, don't you think? In the quiet forest, Yu Shangrong spoke to the unconscious man. Since Lu Lan took your life, I'll take theirs and give them to you. We'll call it even. What do you say? Just tell me what you think. I'll take your silence as a yes, then. Yu Shangrong said no more. Nay. Ji Liang replied instead. Yu Shangrong noticed that Yu Zhenghai's life aura was weakening. He drew his longevity sword. When another scarlet light shot into Yu Zhenghai's body, he returned it to its scabbard. If we keep this up, we'll both die. A gentle smile appeared on Yu Shangrong's face as he said, however, I don't think the heavens will let us die so easily. Yu Shangrong suddenly lifted his longevity sword out of its scabbard with his thumb. Zing. His longevity sword suddenly shot past a tree in the distance. Swoosh. His longevity sword accurately impaled the cultivator hidden behind the tree. The sword absorbed a faint red energy before it flew back into its scabbard. As though nothing had happened, Yu Shangrong said with a smile, "This is the first one." Then, he stood up and carried Yu Zhenghai onto Ji Liang. The 2 men and 1 horse flew out of the forest. Yu Shangrong had just left when another person sat down limply behind another tree, breathing heavily. "Is that Great Yan's sword devil? General Carroll wants us to intercept him? I have to tell the general quickly." He barely finished his sentence speaking when a voice rang from above. "My friend. My apologies. You won't be able to send that letter." When the man looked up, he barely had the time to focus when the longevity sword that was wrapped in energy shot toward him. "This is the second one." The sword returned to its scabbard. Yu Shangrong flew back onto Ji Liang's back. Ji Liang continued flying to Heaven's Moat. Heaven's Moat was an unbroken and towering mountain range that extended 10,000 miles, separating the western regions and Great Yan. Its unique height deterred many from conquering it. Many cultivators would rather take a detour from the northwest to reach the lands of the other tribes. However, that would mean a longer journey and was a waste of time. When Yu Shangrong returned to Brackish Mountain, he spent close to 5 days traveling with his 8-leaf cultivation base before he reached the Melilot graveyard. Taking a detour was not a recommended option. Moreover, he was trying to save Yu Zhenghai, who was in imminent danger. How fortunate that he had Ji Liang. Ji Liang seemed to be compatible with Yu Shangrong. No matter what he did, Ji Liang would instantly understand what he wanted. Ji Liang flew upward with no fear of heights, unlike cultivators who had a limit to how high they could fly. The forest was huge. Many who mastered flying would wildly test the limits of the heights. The strange thing was when cultivators reached a certain altitude, they would run out of primal chi. Since that discovery, cultivators no longer tried to fly at too high an altitude. Heaven's Moat was not as tall as the limit. When Ji Liang was halfway up the mountain, the temperature dropped suddenly. The cold was biting. It seemed like a snowstorm was upon them. Yu Shangrong activated his protective energy that enveloped Ji Liang and Yu Zhenghai. "I heard Old Fourth calling you Ji Liang. You suit me very well. If it's possible, what do you say to staying with me after this?" Yu Shangrong asked as they climbed higher. "Nay." Ji Liang replied as he continued to fly higher. "That's great. Nay. Nay. There's no need to worry about Master. He has many mounts. He won't be missing you," Yu Shangrong said. "Nay. Nay. Nay. Here it comes." At this moment, the snowstorm above Heaven's Moat intensified. Yu Shangrong smiled faintly and said, "Follow me." He pushed away from Ji Liang's back lightly and shot into the air as he summoned his avatar. Whiz. A lotusless 90-foot avatar kept the snowstorm at bay after it raised its hands. Yu Shangrong shook his head and said with a sigh, "A golden lotus would have come in handy at a time like this." Regardless, his expression remained calm as he flew into the avatar. Then, the shining golden avatar shot toward the highest point of Heaven's Moat. At this moment, the garrison soldiers near Heaven's Moat and the civilians staying around the mountains stopped what they were doing and looked up at Heaven's Moat. It was as though a sky lantern was slowly rising into the dark skies above Heaven's Moat. On the western region's side, the soldiers guarding the borders were spurred into the action by this sight. They mobilized their troops toward Heaven's Moat. Yu Shangrong was focused on the skies. The snowstorm obscured his vision and blocked the golden radiance. Countless snowflakes fell on his avatar, covering its glow. However, his determination did not waver. Open. 7 shining golden leaves appeared and spun around the avatar as it flew upward. The accumulated snow on the avatar was instantly swept away by the lotus leaves, and it shone brightly again. Boom. The avatar pushed the snowstorm away and left a huge ring of light in the sky. Ji Liang synchronized its movements with him as it followed closely behind. They were finally past the most difficult part of Heaven's Moat and landed on a peak. The cold wind raged on and on. When Yu Shangrong retracted his avatar, his hair, eyebrows, and robes turned white from the snow. He formed a barrier with his energy to keep out the raging cold wind. Ji Liang neighed. With Zhenghai on its back, it landed beside Yuan'er. The man and the horse stood on the peak of Heaven's Moat, nested between Great Yan and the western regions, and looked down at the hazy lands. The roar of the wind filled their ears. The mountains were hidden by snow. The boundless western region was lost in the darkness. When I just reached the 8-leaf stage back then, I've been here on my own. Now that I'm back, it seems boring. Nay. Yuan'er turned to look at Zhenghai on the horse's back and said, "Eldest senior brother, you've never been here. You can't enjoy the exquisite scenery from this vantage point." He looked down the mountain again. He knew this was not the time to be enjoying the scenery. Moreover, it was extremely dangerous for him to continuously waste his primal chi on this raging storm. He leaped onto Ji Liang and pointed at Lu Lan. "Ji Liang, shake off those cultivators at the border." Nay. Ji Liang leaped into the air again. When it reached a suitable altitude, it adjusted its direction and maintained its altitude. It kept flying at lightning speed. Inside Dajing Palace, in the imperial city of Great Yan's divine capital. The palace was quiet at night. After 2 days of meditation, Zhou had recovered some of his extraordinary power. Just when he was about to stop meditating, he could hear faint footsteps approaching. This is the imperial city. Our mission this time is to investigate and not assassinate. Evergreen Palace, Dajing Palace, the inner warehouse. Search every inch of this area. We must find the box. The divine capital is in disarray right now. We won't have another chance after this. Understand? We'll meet here in an hour. Move out.